There are many ways in which karma can play out in our lives in a very real way. If you're a jerk to enough people, that's obviously going to come back to bite you in the ass, eventually. And if you're good to people, usually people will want to be good to you. The problem is that people attach a supernatural or divine nature to karma, and this is born out of a lack of understanding the law of averages and statistics, and a complete ignorance of how time factors into the proponents of fate, karma, destiny, and the like. Apparently, time doesn't matter at all. Obviously, bad actions often have bad consequences, but we can all think of times when someone did what we perceived as wrong and nothing bad happened to them at all. This is when people who support the idea that there is a divine nature to karma point out that karma is not so simple. They say that when a person does something that hurts us, karma might not repay them for their bad deeds by something directly related to what they did to us, and they might not even be repaid for their bad actions immediately. It could take months or years, they say. Isn't that convenient? For example, recently a friend of mine was telling me a story about an ex-boyfriend of hers who she believed wronged her. That's okay, she said. I fully believe in karma. I've seen it. If karma doesn't come back around and get him now, it will come back to him eventually. Well, obviously. See, if we wait long enough, something bad will obviously happen to her ex-boyfriend. Let's assume her ex-boyfriend lives to be 80 years old. What are the odds that this 32-year-old man will eventually have something bad happen to him at some point throughout his life, over the next 48 years? There is a 100% chance that eventually something bad will happen to him, as well as to everyone else in the world. Of course, a person who wronged you will eventually have something bad happen to them. That's life. And, by the way, when bad things happen to good people, isn't that exactly what people say? Hey, man, that's life. It is interesting to note that many of the same people who dogmatically believe in karma say things like, life's not fair, and if there's a God, then why do bad things happen to good people? Or why do children suffer? These are incredibly common questions that directly contradict our belief in karma and balance in the universe. Yet the same questions are conveniently forgotten when they don't support our bias, which seems to favor a belief in fate, destiny, karma, and the like. So we've discussed that bad things will eventually come back around, but what about good? Within typical human behavior exists what is called the law of reciprocity. Salespersons often use this knowledge in their business practices. When you do something for someone, the recipient of your favor often feels uncomfortable until they've done something for you in return. It can be incredibly beneficial to understand that the law of reciprocity is active in many areas of our lives, and is not exclusive to gift giving or sales. Take relationships, for example. One technique mentioned in the David Burns' book Feeling Good Together is what he called disarming. Negotiators also use this technique and call it mirroring, I believe. The disarming technique goes like this. When someone you wish to maintain a relationship with is mad at you, take their side. Imagine you're them. Say how they feel and validate their feelings by explaining why they feel the way they feel. In my experience, 100% of the time I've done this, the person I was speaking to completely changed their tone, apologized, and reciprocated by offering me some amount of self-inflection, saying something like, "I'm sorry I got upset. I also was not fair with you. I should have taken the time to listen to you." If you're reluctant to believe this works, try it. If it doesn't work, you probably did it insincerely, or added some sarcasm or attitude when stating the other person's feelings. The point is that the law of reciprocity can be recognized in many areas of our lives, and it's perfectly reasonable that goodness begets more goodness, generally speaking. If your good deed does not directly solicit another good event coming back to you immediately, obviously something good will happen to you eventually. It's not magic, it's not karma, It's just the law of averages. Those are just the odds. Sometimes good comes to us undeservedly. Other times it comes to us as a direct result of something we did. Just like the fact that if you wait long enough, something bad will eventually happen to you. If you wait long enough, something good will eventually happen to you. It's that simple. What are the odds that a person would live the rest of their life, another 20, 40, or 90 years, without a single good thing happening to them? Those who subscribe to the contemporary Americanized form of karma are basically saying that if you do good to yourself and to others, good will often result eventually. So, what kind of rule for a belief system is that? News flash, that's life. Believing that good will sometimes come to you simply describes the obvious result of being nice versus being an asshole. You can check your crystal ball at the door. If you're giving, eventually you'll receive something back from some people. There's no revelation or belief system to be had there. It's like making an ideology out of saying if you don't drink water long enough, you'll be thirsty. Of course, it goes without saying that getting stuff shouldn't be the reason you're nice to people. We're simply making the point that the occasional reciprocation is an obvious, magic-free byproduct of treating people well. Expecting reciprocation is self-seeking, and believing we deserve every good thing we receive because of karma is narcissistic. It'll also leave you frustrated and bitter more often than not. Eventually, some old fart like me is gonna come around and say, "What did you expect? Life's not fair." And life has no idea what rules, like karma, it's supposed to follow. Not everything is exactly balanced in life. Sometimes people take advantage of kindness. However, this too should not be a reason to change our behavior and become meaner or nicer. Nor should it be a reason to believe in or not believe in something. It's just life. And yes, those who take advantage of you will have something bad happen to them at some point in their life, directly or indirectly related to the incident which involved you eventually. But how many caveats can we add before an ideology becomes, frankly, not a very good one? We don't need to attach some form of mysticism or religion to otherwise obvious truths in life, or to the law of averages. Wake up and smell reality. Life doesn't care what you believe, or why you believe it. Thanks for listening. Check out the book Question Things in the description. In part 3, we'll go deeper into statistics and coincidence. So make sure you keep an eye out for the next part in this series.